Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. It is Sybil, and we have the ladies are here today. Welcome back, Ms. Astrology on Aprylete Day.
Hello.
Yes, it's astrology.
Hi.
Welcome back. We've missed you.
I miss you guys too. Don't worry, I got some good stuff for us though now that I'm back.
Great.
I'm so
Great,
excited
great.
to hear about all of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's
Aprylete,
Leo season.
Yeah.
Aprylete, how are you doing? I know you went home. How's everything?
Yeah, Aprylette is doing great.
Okay, we're back to the third person. Okay. Okay.
No, Aprylette is doing good. I did go home, St. Louis. Okay. It was good to feel grounded. And I'm the type of person where it's just like, I don't really necessarily need to go home. I'm kind of like, get me out of there. But
Mhm.
this trip was just, it felt good. My little sister had a baby shower. So it was so good to celebrate her. I hit all of the familiar streets. I was just like, okay, Natural
Did you
Bridge
go get some
Highway.
Emo's pizza?
I did get emos. I did get Chinaman. That's what we call our chop suey, our Chinese rice.
Chop
It's the
suey, right.
best. Okay. So I did.
Y'all love your food that don't make no sense.
You know what's so wild? Like there is this content creator that came to St. Louis and was kind of like talking about St. Louis food and things like that. So everybody, like he was just like, oh, it's trash, it's trash, it's trash. But I think St. Louis folks, we just love our pockets of things. That's what it is. So not everything is amazing, but our pockets of things, chef's kiss. So
My friend Guy Torrey, there's nothing like St. Louis food. Emo's Pizza, chop suey, and
yeah.
there's one more thing. I can't remember
With
what
the gooey
third.
butter cake or even the raviolis. I mean, we got a couple of things that are just, just
Yeah.
for us.
Just for us. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with not getting it and not even sampling it ever again. But y'all do you. And
And that's cool. SCL baby all day long.
I mean, people don't understand a lot of things about Chicago food, and we live and die by it.
But we know y'all got good pizza. Like you don't think food when it comes to St. Louis.
You
Y'all
don't.
have like Chicago style hot dogs and Chicago's. There's no
Yeah.
St. Louis
I don't
style
think
anything.
we don't necessarily have anything. I think that is
What
like
about barbecue?
No,
mm-mm.
that's Texas.
That's
I think
Kansas
y'all have
City.
dance moves or something like that. Like y'all got real good
Got steps.
dancers.
Y'all got
Yeah,
steps.
Interesting.
stay
Okay.
in your lane.
So y'all don't do the St. Louis barbecue. It's Kansas City barbecue, huh?
Yeah, because St. Louis barbecue is not hitting. Kansas,
Really?
yeah,
Unless
no.
it's your grandmama's.
Come on now, Bertha. Come on now, now, Bird gonna get you right. Bird is gonna get you right, okay? But one thing about St. Louis is just we're the show me state, so we
You
gotta
show
show
us
up and show
something.
out. We gotta show up and show out.
Ms. Astrology, as I said, we've missed you. How have you been?
I've been good. So many changes going on. I put a post the other day. Oh, and I would love to tell my audience, all my social media got stripped away from me. I lost my Facebook page for over 15 years. I've had that page, the only one I've ever had, and logged into it one day and it said completely disabled. This account has been deactivated. There is nothing further you can do.
Did you get
That was
hacked?
connected to my Miss Astrology Instagram page, completely gone. So my website, astrologically.com, is the only way you're really going to be able to get in touch with me. You can book a reading and all that stuff there. So just so everybody knows that, but that still goes back to what I've been telling us for years now about how important it is for us to be independent, right? And doing our own thing. So we got to have our own websites and our own way, our own email list and those kind of things, because when other people, Pluto's in Capricorn, when other people are in control, it could be stripped away. But I've been doing good. I want to tell people that from the age of about 42 to like 46-ish, a lot of people call it a midlife crisis. In astrology, we call it a midlife correction. So there's typically a pivot, a drastic pivot in people's lives. So I definitely have been seeing that happen in my own.
Wow.
So many changes are happening, shaking things up. It seems like nothing's happening for a while. Then all of a sudden it's like, wow. And so
Mhm.
Oh, it's
just
a
know
good
that,
thing though. The
yeah,
correction
good
is
changes. They can still shake you up and just seem like, but that's why it happens when you're a little bit older, because these are the
you
changes
can
that you
handle it.
need
Yeah.
to happen, and you're more ready for them at this age. So,
Right. Good for you. Good for,
yeah,
I'm excited about your next. I really am.
Yeah.
yes, I'm really
Yeah.
excited about it too. It's going to be good. We're selling our house, and so that's really good. We've been here for nearly 20 years, so there's a nice little piece of equity that I'm
Okay.
excited about, and even more so, I'm really excited to put another family in it. It's a really big
Oh,
home with
that's
Oh, I
lots
love
of
wonderful.
room,
that.
great for entertaining. So I'm really excited that the next family that's coming in is multi-generational, and
Oh.
they're kind of doing what we did. So
Mhm.
it's exciting to see that as well.
Because it
Yeah.
was your
That's
mom and
beautiful.
your kids
Yeah, and I was
so
married
three
at the time, and
generations.
we had
Yeah.
all the babies here, and my mom. There was 3 generations in this house at one time.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and we
awesome.
had the space for it.
That's great.
We
That's
lived
great.
here together
Beautiful.
for a long time.
So let me ask you this, and this is a more professional. You don't have to give me numbers or anything, but did you find that the market came up in terms of what you expected to get for your house? Because
No, it's
that's
slow right now.
yeah,
People are scared.
yeah.
So they're scared. We didn't get nearly as many showings, like any of that would have really been even a year ago. So no, I mean, people are always buying homes,
Mhm.
especially in Texas, but no, it wasn't what we were seeing just a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
not at all.
looking at too. Yeah, absolutely. All
Yeah,
right,
but
ladies.
luckily I bought in 2008, so I got
Okay.
right around
Yeah.
that time when homes were like really cheap or
Yeah,
Yeah.
inexpensive, and so yeah, so I still have a nice little penny, so we're still
yeah.
okay.
That's good.
You, we will not hold any telethons for you. You're good.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Aprylette Russell, it is Miss Aprylette Day. Let's talk about what you have in the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter, and we seek to super serve to inform and empower the African American community with a lot of the stories as well as viewpoints. And Aprylette is our mental health and wellness contributor. And
Mhm.
we would love to have you subscribe to the newsletter. It is always free. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address. We'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday. And if you have an issue, let us know at SybilWilkes.com, and we'll try to get that adjusted just as quickly as possible. Sometimes, people say, I didn't get my newsletter. And so it's just a matter of saying, did you check your junk file? Did you check your spam? And sometimes it just doesn't, it just disappears. And so we get you back in there and get you back on track. And speaking of on track, Aprylette, talking about mental health and wellness and about the Biden administration's is that um
We're talking about sunshine guilt.
sunshine, yeah. And
Mhm.
so this is what's fascinating to me. Sunshine is not the happy
Yeah. So
theme.
there's a term that's trending right now on TikTok. Everything has to trend. And it's called sunshine guilt. And so this is referring to the
Sunshine
feeling
guilt.
of remorse from people not experiencing or not spending enough times outdoors and making the most of sunny weather.
Wow.
So people are saying they have sunshine guilt. And so Forbes end up doing a survey. And so according to this survey, 48% of the people that they surveyed out of 2,000 said that at some point during the summer, they're just literally not feeling good. They're having negative mental health symptoms, which are maybe caused by the high heat temperatures
Mm.
or the humidity. And they did the survey over 50 states, and they saw that there were 10 states that were most likely seeing some of these common symptoms. And the top three were Oklahoma, West Virginia, and
And
Mississippi.
and what was the last one?
Mississippi.
And nothing for Texas? I would think that we would.
Texas was not on the top 10 list. Kentucky was on there, and there's a couple more, but not Texas.
Right.
Not Texas. And so with the sunshine guilt, psychologists are saying that this can kind of originate from early childhood experiences where they're relating sunny weather with special days or core memories that are formed. And so now society trends equates that sunny weather, it means happiness or activities and good memories. But if people are kind of taking those days sitting in the house, they're
And you're not getting the full effect of the sun.
exactly. So now they're feeling guilty. And so this right here is causing negative emotions with financial stress, anxiety, body image, or missing out on vacations when they see other people traveling online.
Wow, that's a lot. That's heavy.
But once
It's
again,
Leo season. We're definitely supposed to go outside.
Yeah,
Why are y'all in
yeah,
the
for sure.
house?
What y'all waiting for?
no,
Well,
literally.
I know the heat, but we have not at least in North Texas, we have not had the 100-degree days the way
Mhm.
that we're accustomed to. You've had a lot of rain, Ms. Astrology, in
Yeah.
Oh
South
my gosh,
Texas.
it's been bad.
Yeah, and you all are coming out of a major storm. So
Hmm.
do you find that affects people's moods?
Oh yeah, too much of this weather, like this gray, like it is. But the astrologer in me is like, the sun is at home in Leo. Of course, we're supposed to be outside. Like the sun is like, I want to go back to the place that I'm most comfortable in.
Right.
So the fact that it's making us feel guilty, I just like, okay, go outside. I tend to go outside early in the morning. That's
Yeah.
kind of the only
Yeah.
time I can do it.
Right.
And I like to work on my tan. I've talked many times about how much I hate my winter color. And
Hmm.
so if I got to do it early in the morning, that's when I'm going to do it. But I
Mhm.
also noticed that, yeah, I feel a lot better in the summer
Yeah.
and when there's a lot more sunshine.
I
Hmm.
love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. And even when I had a convertible, and it was like, God, what were you thinking? Because you get to the summertime and it's just boiling. But I miss, I like having a sunroof, at least able to open it up. And okay, so I crank up the air conditioner a little bit more, but just having the sun down on you just
Yeah.
does
Right.
so
It
much
does
for me.
wonders. And I do want to mention too that sunshine guilt and SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder, are not
Hmm.
one and the same, because with
Mhm.
seasonal defective disorder, this is an actual disorder that is mentioned in the diagnostic and manual of mental disorders. And this condition changes the circadian rhythm in the brain. And so
Mm.
this is due to the shift in daylight hours. And so there are people who suffer from seasonal defective disorder in the summer months. So I just want to
Oh,
make
no.
sure,
Wow.
that some, like, as this is trending on TikTok, that we are, using the appropriate knowledge and things like that. And people are not just self-diagnosing because they're feeling sunshine guilt. And this trend is seen with most of the younger generation in the Gen Z. That's what Forbes, their research was pretty much showing, that most of the Gen Zers are, coming up with this trending term, sunshine guilt. But definitely, I wanted to make that distinction between SAD, seasonal defective disorder, and sunshine guilt.
And
So
Gen Z
sunshine.
probably want you to go outside.
And is there a cure for sunshine guilt?
There's not, but there's ways to cope with it. And one of the things that you can do literally is just be gentle with yourself. And if you're feeling burnt out or exhausted and you just need time in the house to recharge, that is okay. You don't have to feel guilty because you're not outside. If your
Mhm.
body is craving just being at home, sitting on the couch for a day, that's okay. Like, listen to your body, do what feels good for you and your mental, and then get back outside. Or unplug from social media. If your friends are taking vacation, if they're doing all these outdoor activities, don't watch it. Don't look at it. Do
Right.
you, like, literally do what feels best for you. So again, there's no cures, but there's ways to cope with it. And also another one is good is have a routine, because in the
Mhm.
summertime it's more loose. You're just kind of doing whatever. I think
Right.
routines are very important to, like, help with your mental state. And if you create a routine for yourself in the summer, where it's just like, in the morning time, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Afternoon looks like this. Night looks like that. You just don't have all of this free time to kind of feel loosey goosey. So
Mhm.
those are some of the things that I would say that could help cope with this summertime guilt.
Oh, that's
Right.
good. That's good to know. That's good to know. I've been telling people about the discussion we had not too long ago about a first aid class, a mental health and
Yes.
wellness first aid class. Do you have any more information on that?
Honestly, I do. I have the link. So I have the link to it. And right now they're actually offering, so the first aid classes, you can be an instructor, or you can, of course, just take the class and get your certificate. Right now they're offering free classes for instructors.
Hmm.
And then for the people that just want to get certified in mental health first aid, you can do a youth class for the younger generation, and then you can do adult. So it's two separately. And so you'll be able to kind of go ahead and do youth and do adult. So that's some new information as well.
Good for you. Okay, so we'll contact them about that. Also, in the newsletter today, I am all in for Kamala Harris. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
It's I'm in. I'm not going nowhere. And I tell
Okay.
you, the way Joe Biden, I wrote a story a couple of weeks ago. that to cue the Jennifers, that Joe Biden was in his head, he was here, and I'm telling you, I'm not going. Well, he went. And so now Kamala Harris is the standard bearer, or will be, for the Democratic Party, and I'm just beside myself with excitement. So I wrote a little bit about her, and giving everybody an update of her events. Like today, um, she was in Houston, and she was talking to the largest teachers union, and getting their support and things. And she'll be doing that over the next several days, and those that are coming on board, with those in the forefront who are not as forefront as I'd like to see them, but that's neither here nor there. Coy Malone is our social justice contributor, and her story is brought to you by Black Voters Matter. And Coy writes about Donald Trump and his allies attacking Kamala Harris based on her race and her gender, and even so much as not even be, for whatever reason, now all of a sudden they can't pronounce her name correctly, and they talk about all of these ridiculous things and lies, and quite honestly, I mean, there's fact checking that's done for every lie that you put out there and to correct it. But check that out on Coy's story as well. So let us move to once again. If you'd like to see these stories, please go to SybilWilkes.com to subscribe to the What's Going On, to the What You Need to Know newsletter. You can find out what's going on, as we are about to, with Ms. Astrology. And so now, Ms. Astrology, we're going to give you a chance to flex, because from the very beginning, when Ms. Astrology was first on with us years ago.
It's about 2 years now.
Yeah, and during the Christmas holiday, and she gave us some things to think about, and I was like, oh, and she's like, but it's going to be good, and
we're going to be okay.
We're going to be okay, and
I have been telling us that Kamala Harris will rise to power.
Yep.
And that she will find herself in a position of authority. I have been saying this for about 2 years now. Her chart is just prime for it. It's just ready. And I do want to go back to Capricorn season, because not that I necessarily like making these kind of predictions, but I did predict also with Michelle Obama's mom, and that something was going on with her mom, and that it was taking a lot of her time. And then we saw that her mom passed away. Right. And so there's been a lot of things that I have predicted. I know even with the assassination attempt, I have been saying all along, Donald Trump is just going to slide by with so many things, and we have been seeing it happen left and right. I want to point out two things that I think is just goes to prove that we are not done with how wild this election season is going to be. Okay. Both Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are born on full moons, exact full moons, like at the moment of the full moon. Wow. So they are both just very dynamic people that were meant to bring change, that were meant to be recognized, that were meant to just kind of rise up in a shocking way, if you will. But at the same time, this is just like, I don't know. From here, I'm going to say we're going to pass it on to and let astrology deal with it, because I really can't say what I think is going to happen moving forward. I do also stick to this prediction. I have been saying that the U.S. is primed for a president to pass away in office. Has not happened yet. This is my only concern about if Kamala is elected next year, which I do think she has a really good chance of being elected. And I'm going to tell y'all exactly how she can do it, quite honestly. Okay. But if she gets elected, I'm concerned that if Biden does not pass away before she is elected, that she's going to end up being the one that passes away in office, or in some kind of way, either her or even Donald Trump, whoever is elected at the beginning of next year. So as bad as this seems, I've been saying it for like a year now, like, okay, Mr. Biden, you made it to your 80s. You can go ahead and slide on out of here. So I can feel better about that prediction coming to pass. Okay. Because my predictions very much come to pass. And this isn't anything that like I have any personal connection to whatsoever. I want you guys to know that this is simply from my studies. I have studied this subject for years. I've spent thousands of dollars, thousands of hours. When I'm reading these charts, I literally have no feeling to them whatsoever. I just say what my scientific mind, because astrology is science, like what I kind of, it's like your doctor looking at your labs.
The charts,
They're just giving you the answer. So this doesn't have anything to do with how I feel about it, but this is going to be very, very interesting. And my prediction as far as like what we're going to see in November, I actually don't think that, I think that if Kamala is not mean, she's going to have to like antagonize Donald Trump. So this is not a Libra quality though, because Libras like to stay very diplomatic. She's a Libra. So they like to stay very balanced, very diplomatic, very even toned. They don't want to ruffle your feathers.
Right.
The thing about it is though, he's a Gemini, and Mars, the
He's one
planet
of
of
those that
aggression and fight, is currently in Gemini.
Mm.
So if she can antagonize him, he can blow up completely and just go off, say the most misogynistic, racist, like before he even knows what's happening, because Geminis, they're easy to lose control, right? Like it's a mutable sign. They'll go this way or that way. So if she can just like say the right things, which I think she knows what to say because she has Mercury in Scorpio, which is very much able to kind of poke at you. Scorpios, like the scorpion, like she's very much able to poke at him. If she's able to antagonize him just enough, she's able to like set him off, that he will be to his own detriment.
Yeah.
Because other than that, if she doesn't do that, they actually put her into the race a little bit too late. So it's like she's got to work with the astrology now. Like, okay, the astrology says if I make him mad, he'll go off. That can ruin him because it's Mars. Mars will kill itself. Like shoot itself in the foot. Like it's that kind of thing. She's got to get him to do that, but that's not a Libra thing. So this has got to be like something that she intentionally does. Libra will intentionally not interrupt you when you talk and let you finish what you got to say. And
that's what I'm saying. I'm going to let you say what you got to say.
Right. Or just choose a kinder word or something like that. And it's like, just spit some facts out. Just say something. Call him a racist. Like, call it, just say it. Like, even if it's not something that you were saying, like, just say, that was a completely racist thing to do because you're a racist. He's going to lose it. Barely holding on to it now.
Do you have any insight into his running mate, JD Vance?
Oh, I pulled up his chart while we were going through Leos. He is a Leo.
Oh,
wow.
So this is actually a very good compliment to Donald Trump. The thing about Leos, though, is they can easily get under somebody's skin, because and you saw with Barack Obama, right? Either you loved him or you hated him. Like either people were just completely annoyed with his swag and just his. I personally, because I love Leos, I loved it. But there are people that Leo just easily gets under their skin. They're like, he's too cocky. He thinks too much of himself. So JD Vance does have the potential to where he could get under people's skin and just annoy people. However, he is likely the best running mate for Donald Trump because Trump is a Leo rising. And then Trump has Mars in Leo too. So JD can actually, which could be bad could be bad for them because JD can get Trump kind of riled up too. Like, did you see this? Did you hear what they said? Did you? Yeah. And next thing you know, because Trump doesn't have enough control, JD does, Kamala does, but Trump doesn't. He's a mutable sign, the only mutable sign in this. He's the one that's going to lose it. He can't keep control.
Wow. So the next thing is, who would you, and I don't have their sign, so I can't add their birth dates, but what would be the best sign for her to pick as her vice presidential candidate?
She's a Libra. They're going to go along with anybody, but I would even like somebody that was maybe a little bit more forceful or someone that just a little bit more assertive. So that would maybe be a fire sign, an Aries. I wouldn't necessarily say a Leo. A Sagittarius would do well. Somebody that's just going to push her. Libra gets along with everybody though. Right. So as far as who she can partner with everybody because she can be the diplomatic one. But that's something that because the South Node is in Libra, she's got to step away from that during this time. Like she literally has to be okay with getting under somebody's skin. Get with somebody not liking you. Remember, Kamala, he doesn't like you. There's no reason to be nice to this man.
Right.
He doesn't like you.
But she does have to be civil, and someone has to be the adult in the room, right?
Right. She does need to be civil and like not yelling type thing, like not raising her voice, not coming off too masculine. But she can
or being the angry black woman.
Right, exactly like an angry black woman. Don't come off like that. But there's those words because he's a Gemini. It don't gotta be loud. It's just gotta be race. The word racist or the word misogynist. She doesn't have to say it loud. She doesn't have to say it.
She might have to explain what a misogynist is to him, but she can get her point across.
Right, she can get her point across. She can say she's just got to say those right words in order to make him go off.
Right.
That's really the winning way right now. Honestly, it is. So I hope somebody's over there telling her, girl, you're going for commander in chief. It's okay to be mean sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
It makes me think, I was telling my coworker, I was talking about texting my kids, and she was like, "You're mean." And I looked at her, I said, "Sometimes."
You got
and
it.
so then it was like a couple days later, she was at my house, and my son was standing there, and she goes, "Your mom can be mean." And my son goes, "Sometimes." It's okay. I bet he ain't gonna cross no lines, right? So sometimes it's necessary. That's what's necessary for her.
Now here we are in Leo season. What can we expect?
So this is what I love about lions. And how much this actually goes with what Aprylete is saying about sunshine guilt. This is the time to be in the sun. This is when we think about the harder summer, we're having fun. Leo is the fun sign of the zodiac, the creative, the children, not babies that need to be nurtured, but like the fun kids, the kids that can go to the restroom on their own now. Now you can just, let's go have fun. Let's go. It's hanging out. Remember how you used to be sent to your family member's house. You used to have to go to your grandma, or it made me think about how in two-parent house or divorced household, you got to go spend the summer with your dad,
right?
And all your cousins and all of them. That's what Leo season's all about: family, fun. It made me think about family reunions, just creative stuff, really enjoying togetherness, and in the middle of summer, being outside. I know it's hot, but it's the time for us. The sun is at home in Leo, so it's like, yes, please come spend some time outside in the sun and taking in the rays, because guess what? We're about to start transitioning into the fall. Y'all gonna miss this sunshine. You better come get some of it right now.
Right.
And so that's what Leo season is all about. It's time to have a good time. And we really want to get that good time in now, because I'm telling y'all, it's really about to shift.
Dang, this is
it is. And I want to predict this also. I do think that unless Kamala is able to trigger Donald Trump, that when we get to November, that I don't think that either candidate is going to hit the 270 electoral college votes. There's going to be some kind of runoff or something that America has never seen before.
Oh my God.
It is time for something we have never seen before. We're in our Pluto return. This is our first time, and we've seen it happen when some of us remember the USSR, when all that, and just different all kind of things have happened when any kind of country has been, when they go into their Pluto return, which is anywhere from 180. People don't see it, but this country is about to see it. So we're about to see something we've never dealt with since this country's been founded.
Well, I know that we talk about the November 5th elections, but also it bears repeating, and I'm not sure what this means astrologically, but early voting begins in September.
Right.
And so just a reminder to people that we are not just waiting until November 5th, that things are going to start to happen in September.
Right. And another especially once we go into Scorpio season, that goes more into October, November. But another thing to remember, and I've said this for the last couple of years as well, because Uranus is in Taurus, you want to be mindful of what is familiar. So you want to vote local. You really want to vote first and foremost for what affects your immediate community.
Start at the bottom and work your way up.
Start at the bottom and work your way up. Like, yes, this is big and we're excited for that, but we're most impacted about what happens within our own county and precinct.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So and as exciting as it is, because I think about like the first time I voted for a Black man, and the first time, for president, not in a primary, peace to you, Reverend Jackson and Reverend Sharpton, but for Barack Obama and just what that meant. And now this, but you've got to do the work for all of those, because the further down the ballot, in just a little political science here, the further down the ballot, the greater effect those offices have on your day-to-day living.
Right.
Remember that. So let's talk about some famous Leos.
I do want to say this really quickly too, to just give everybody some insight into Leo season. Because Mars is in Gemini, there's going to be a lot more potential for arguments. So when you're at these family reunions and family events, don't be arguing with your cousins and your siblings and the people that you grew up with. It's a lot more likely for that. A lot of us remember when Takeoff of the Migos got shot. Mars was in Gemini, and he was just with a group of people. There's some kind of little argument popped up. He too was a Gemini. So Geminis want to really be careful. And just anybody with a smart mouth, if you got a smart mouth, you know it.
Zip it.
Right. We might not have much to say for the next few weeks. Look,
I'll be taking off for the next several weeks. Just
right. And even like let's take a break. Even texting, things can come off in text wrong, like that kind of thing. So those are things to just be mindful of.
Just Chica and Yolanda, I'll be away.
Yolanda ain't having it. Okay.
Oh, okay. No, she's probably like, that's a good idea.
Right. That's a good idea.
So some famous Leos.
Some famous Leos. I always got to start with my favorite, Mr. Barack Obama. I just love his swag. When I was looking at his chart today, he has a Gemini moon. And as much as I don't want to say this, I have to say this. I don't know that he is going to speak for Kamala or campaign for her a whole lot. I think he might be a little bit.
What is it about the Gemini moon that makes you say that?
Well, Mars is in Gemini. I think something has him annoyed, and I don't necessarily know what it is. Gemini is the brain, so maybe a decision was made or how it was made that he didn't like that, and it's something that he's a little bit of a part of. But I don't see him campaigning for Kamala or really kind of speaking highly like that of her. He may send a couple things out, but I don't expect him to get on the road for her.
That is so interesting. As recently as this afternoon, having discussions with that around that with friends of mine, and talking about where is he, what is he going to do. And the news stories today is that he's been waiting. He was waiting for President Biden. He was waiting for others to come aboard. But my feeling is, as the leader of this party, really, he should have been out there, because another friend of mine, he was gathering the votes. He was getting the support. And I was like, no, he is not that type. He's the type to get out there and
he's such a great speaker. He's got Mercury in Leo too, and then that beautiful, it's a good aspect from his moon for him. But with Mars there right now, it just feels like something annoyed him, and that, or maybe he even just feels like it just doesn't feel right or something like that. I just don't expect him, as much as I don't like to say it and I don't like to look at it, but it doesn't feel like his chart is going to have a lot of campaigning, is going to do a lot of campaigning for Kamala Harris.
That's a real, I'm telling you, just about every day, every other day, someone brings that up and we go,
where's Obama?
Right. Shirley and Tony Davis said, what happened to Stacey Abrams? Exactly what I would said would happen. She went to academia. I predicted that she was going to lose the election and then she was going to go on. I said that. I said, if she was my client, I'd look at this chart. I would say, are you sure you don't want to be a college professor? And that's exactly what she went on to do.
Yep, absolutely. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So then we have Halle Berry. When I looked at her chart,
Halle
Berry. And when I looked at her chart, I found it very interesting because it's 3 placements in Leo and 3 placements in Cancer. And I just feel like that she is going through so many things as a woman that she's about to come and speak out about as a woman. Like, okay, women, I didn't know, getting older. And I think she started talking about menopause, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what that is her thing now. She's really going to be an advocate for women and self-care and hormonal health and all of that kind of stuff. And I think that she's going to kind of take that path a little bit more. I would be surprised if we saw her in any more movies or anything like that. I think she's kind of settled in that area and feeling that her sense of value is now in like women's health and that kind of thing.
I really recently heard about her having a deal with Ryan Murphy in a movie or a TV series or something. And Ryan Murphy, is a big deal.
Oh, yeah, he's an American Horror Story, right?
Exactly.
Oh, I love him.
And
so,
and it was
I bet whatever it is.
Kardashian. And she and Halle, they, it was like a couple of days in, they're like, she's no longer with the production.
Ooh, see, I just think for her, she just is feeling really good about where she is, feeling really good about being a woman. I feel like, you love being a woman, but then it's like as you get older, like, really like, yeah, no, I actually love being a woman. I'm gonna settle all the way into this and get to know my hormones. And I think that's what she's doing now.
And it
So
seems like
if
she got the right
anything,
partner too.
right, exactly. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she came out with like some gut health supplements or some hormonal supplements or therapies or something like that. I feel her kind of going into the direction of women's health. So we'll see. And then I have Megan Good. I do think that her and Jonathan Majors will be breaking up. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna last too much longer. And I actually
they're good for a season.
That was just for a season. Megan has Venus in Virgo, so it was also for something that made sense to her. like, and I don't know that necessarily make sense means like felt good or felt like right. She just felt like, yeah, this is like the right thing to do. I don't want to speculate that was like a publicity stunt or anything like that. But I don't see them being together much longer. And then when she's got that Scorpio moon, so I also think that she's trying to do some own healing from herself. When I look at this moon and with Leo, it's a square. So it still makes me wonder what Megan may have been going on with her divorce from her, and like maybe that's something that now that she's had this relationship, she's trying to get back into. Okay, maybe there's something from that I want to deal with, and maybe she's thinking about, do I even want to have kids? And so I don't expect her to be with Jonathan Majors too much, and we'll see some. And she might know some things that come out a little bit later about that, but she might not tell. I tell people this all the time: if you want somebody to keep your secret, tell a Scorpio moon. Scorpio. If you need to vent and you don't want anybody to know, you can tell a Scorpio. They'll take it to the grave. And then we have Viola Davis. I love her so much. And this with her, she has Jupiter and Gemini, so she's really going to see some great opportunities. I think that she's going to bring forth maybe some writing or screenwriting or producing or some behind the scenes work where she's coming up with scripts, doing, and she's got that Aquarius moon, so it's Aquarius placements are going to be really, really good next year. It feels like now she's overproduction, she's directing, and she's doing maybe teaching at. Didn't you go to Juilliard or some fancy
Yale or one of those? Yeah.
She went to some top-notch acting school. I could see her teaching there and doing like producing and stuff like that. Not necessarily getting away from the camera because she's got a lot of placements that still like to be applauded, but it looks more like maybe producing and going into a little bit more of that role. So good for her.
Well, we're going to move into trending, and we're going to continue the conversation just in terms of time and everything. And as we go into trending, Viola has been in the news of late, not so much for her productions, but her daughter is now thinks that she is going to go into the family business, as it were. And I just love, the love that these two have, that she and her husband have for this child, and the spirit of encouragement that's there, that she may not have had in her life, but she's making sure that her daughter has it.
How old is her daughter?
She's like 14, like 13, 14 years old. Yeah. And she seems like a really sweet kid too. Very good. Okay, so who else do we have?
And then last but not least, we have Miss Meghan Markle. When I was first looking at the chart, like I don't know that I've actually completely looked at her chart. I don't like this Venus in Virgo kind of concerns me to think, is she going to stay married? And plus she has the moon in Libra. The South Node is currently in Libra. But the other thing about having Venus in Virgo is like, we're doing this because this is what makes sense, right? Like we can't break up, that wouldn't make sense. Like we can't divorce, that wouldn't make sense. But she's definitely got some regrouping and that kind of thing to do. And if I was Meghan Markle's astrologer, I would say there's maybe some sense of pride that she needs to get over during this time, or some sense of ego. Maybe there's an apology that's due or a connection that needs to be made, just so she can get back to, okay, this does make sense to do this, because some of the things maybe didn't make sense. I don't want to make any judgment.
I'm sorry. Does that mean that she should make an apology to the royal family, kind of apology?
I mean, Leo is royal, so, and with her having some of these placements here, and with them having like the money and the connection, I think they've been talking a little bit more about a money issue with Meghan and Prince. So with Libra there,
Harry got a nice little sum of money recently over the last couple of days. There's a report like tens of millions of dollars.
Oh wow!
And even more than William got.
Oh,
more
wow.
recently. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That'll help. But at that'll help. But at the same time, I'm just hoping that Megan didn't burn any bridges or like kind of say anything that would just kind of put her stability in jeopardy, if you will. So, because Leo, and especially with Mercury and Leo, they can be mean. They can say some
Mean
No.
Yes, they will burn you up.
What I said,
They
I've
will
been
burn
saying
this.
it this
It's the
whole
sun.
time.
All fire signs can. Me too. All fire signs can. I mean, it's fire. So, like, yeah.
Look
Sorry.
at
So we have the sharpest tongues for sure.
Yeah. And I came out like that, you know.
Wow, I was born this way.
Yeah.
No, Sybil, that's not how that works. It's
That's
fate and free will. You can work. She's like, what do you mean?
I was born this way.
Trust and believe I came out like this.
Yeah, but we can fine tune it or either learn how to apologize, some of us. And so that's kind of what I would say to Megan is like, if there's an apology that needs to be had, just swallow your pride, Leo, and make that apology, because with that Libra moon, it's kind of an indication that there is an apology that needs to be made.
And that's an indication of adulting.
Adulting.
Yep. Got no choice.
Yeah, it's like if you got cut off. Girl, you better go ahead and apologize.
Yeah, you want some of that royal
Why
money?
that royal money?
Okay.
I'm gonna be apologizing. Royal money, come follow me.
Right. Oh, I meant to tell you, because we find one every single time. Viola Davis was born on a full moon.
Yeah, another one.
Another one. Every single time that we do this every month.
Is it a real full?
It's a real full. It's not an exact like Kamala and Trump, but it's still within what astrologers call an orb. So it's 7 degrees away, but the sun was in Leo, the moon was in Aquarius. So it's a little bit more like that, to where Kamala and Donald are just right opposite.
All right, let's move to some news, some things that have happened today. So, you knew it was going to happen at some point or another, and the money got to them. Southwest is preparing to get rid of open seating, offer extra leg room in its biggest shift in its history. They are saying that as a result of investors and other money people, that they have decided to make these changes. They're going to implement them next year, starting the beginning of the year, including overnight flights. That's something they gotta land by the time the day's over and start the next day. But they are going to implement overnight flights. They're going to give people seating assignments, and they're going to make the assignments also where the seating assignments where you know how they do with those with the dollar signs on when you want to get your seats, pay for extra leg room and things like that. And not just run for the emergency exit row when you get on a Southwest flight. And they might as well. I mean, their tickets are as high as everybody else's.
They
might
sure
as well
are.
do what everybody else is doing.
They have the same price tickets. I agree with that.
You cannot find a deal on Southwest.
Even when they have like the $49 one, or they'll do it like for like 2 days or something, and then it's just so random, and you really can never find anything.
Right. Well, they pulled out of our main airport here. They pulled out a IAH Intercontinental, which is our main one, and went back to the little one on the other side of town. So
which messed up, a lot of people who were working there,
right?
And living nearby. But there's a lot of changes everywhere. Do you see anything about? I mean, we talk about the interest rates coming down in the economy and things like that. Do you see a change or an improvement in that as we get closer to November, December?
I think that we're going to get a good shakeup in November, like right around that time. I think that things are going to be a lot better next year. Okay. So we're going to have some shakeup at the end of the year, just because Pluto is going to retrograde back into Capricorn, and Capricorn is those old structures in retrograde. And this is last time here. So it's like, oh yeah, let me finish destroying this before I move on to the changes I'm going to make here. So I think that it's going to get rough. Like, we're going to see some shakeup, but ultimately at the beginning of next year, when Pluto goes into Aquarius, Aquarius is, I always say, it's the sign of games, but it's more about community, collective, humanity.
And you've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah. But Pluto moves so slow that, of course, I got to say it for all these years. Yeah. And Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008, and it's not leaving until the end of 2024. It's a very slow moving planet. So we you think about all the changes it's made since 2008, and really just in the like in the whole structure of things, we've seen so many changes. So it's like, let me get the rest of this change in motion so I can move on from there and
think about that. Think about that. 2008 is when Barack
Yep.
Obama was elected.
Right.
2024 is when
Yep.
Biden is leaving.
Exactly.
And what has come in between there?
Exactly. We had a Trump presidency in between this. We had COVID. We had so many things happen. Exactly. And so, and a lot of it had to do with political things. Even when you think about, because Capricorn is like old buildings and structures, you think about now, people aren't working in those old buildings anymore. More people are working at home. We got more vacant commercial buildings. So we're seeing all of that. Pluto's like, yeah, figure out what you're going to do with that, because I'm transferring power to the people. The people that are ready, not just necessarily because Pluto wants you to step up and be in charge. In Aquarius, the same thing. Who's the leader of the group? You're not in position to like rise up. Then because the middle class is going away, you're either going to be at the top or at the bottom.
Wow.
So check this out. Republicans are not happy today after some testimony from the FBI director that Donald Trump may not have been hit by a bullet at the July 13th assassination attempt. The House Speaker Mike Johnson pushed back against the director Christopher Wray's testimony before the House Judiciary Committee that the former president may not have been hit directly by a bullet, but rather a shard of glass, like other people have said. He said it could be it. During the attempt on his life, this is the same man that was nominated by Donald Trump, but Christopher Wray also said in 2020 that was the fairest election in history. So he doesn't have, they don't have a lot of love between the two of them. But he said, with respect to the former president, some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel. He said the investigation into the shooting is very much ongoing. He said, but it's as likely to be shrapnel as it is to be to a bullet. And a lot of us, been watching this and staying up nights looking at it from all the angles and everything, and seeing where that blood pack was that he put up to his ear right quick. So, and not to make light of an assassination attempt, of course, but there is still a lot of skepticism about that. So stay with that, because he's made a whole cottage industry out of this now. So we'll see what happens. Texas deaths from Hurricane Beryl have climbed to at least 36, including more who lost power in the heat wave. The medical examiner's office confirmed 9 more deaths, including 4 that were at least partially attributed to the heat, hypothermia, which is when a person's body temperature rises above the normal. At least a dozen other residents in the Houston area also died from complications due to the heat and losing power. It's a horrific thing, Ms. Astrology, and you know better than those of us here what kind of effect this had on your community.
It was bad. There were so many people. And then speaking of guilt, like we felt bad because we didn't lose electricity in my house. So, but even though my house is 20 years old, our power lines are underground. So we lost it in the freeze, but we didn't lose it with the winds.
Right.
But it was so difficult for the city because same grid as a hospital. You lost all electricity, and some people were out of electricity for a week. So it was just really, really difficult. And then, of course, it's really hot in the city. And so that was difficult as well. And I want to tell y'all this, for people that are homeowners out there. I didn't even know this, and I'm a real estate agent. So we had some roof damage from the hurricane, and I called my insurance company to make a claim. And hurricane deductible is very different than a hazard deductible. Like 10% versus 1%.
Oh my God.
$31,000. I was like, a roof don't even cost that much.
Right.
That's the deductible.
That's the deductible.
Because the claim happened during the time that the National Weather Association said there was a hurricane, and I'm in that zone, it's automatically considered a hurricane deductible. Even if this is the original roof and it needed to be changed. Now, if it would have been a regular storm, if it would have been today, I would have called. There's no hurricane, then it would have been my 1%. But because it was a hurricane in the Gulf, it's a 10%, at least $31,000. $800.
My Lord. You could really teach a class on what you've learned as a
Okay.
homeowner and
Yeah.
Being a
in real
homeowner,
estate.
getting ready to sell it, being a real
Mhm.
estate agent, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to my sellers like that ever again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just for folks who talking about Beryl, that was the hurricane that came in as a category 1, made landfall in the month of July. It was July 8th, knocking out electricity to nearly 3 million people in Texas at the height of the outages. And did you have a generator? I know you said you didn't lose your power, but as a
No,
backup.
we don't have a generator, but some of my neighbors do. Just honestly, in the city, we just need better infrastructure. We just need better. And then it makes you wonder, like, should Texas have gotten off the national grid? Because
Mhm.
if we wouldn't have, then power could have, but then the power lines were down. So I don't
Right.
know. So I think that's what a lot of us hear, and this is where the local elections come in, and
Yeah.
that it's important to vote for stronger power lines or something,
Yeah.
whatever we can do.
And we think, well, that'll just cost us more money, but in the long run,
It's
Well,
worth
yeah,
it.
people will be
you
happier.
gotta
Look, here,
think of
take my money now.
right.
Don't let my lights come out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah.
The Olympic Games are underway. The U.S. women's national soccer team rolled to an Olympics opening win over Zambia that was described as equal parts cathartic and emphatic because it was the United States women's team first game at a major tournament since the pain of losing the 2023 World Cup. Emphatic because the score was 3-0, and they really could have scored a lot more,
Mm.
according to observers. The goals were created by the very players who suffered most during and after last year's World Cup. Trinity Rodman, and yes, Rodman, her dad is Dennis,
Mhm.
was devastated after the tough 2023 tournament. She spun, as they say, Zambian defenders in circles and scored the first goal of the game.
That's
And
awesome.
so that's really pretty cool.
Yeah, in the newsletter, I wrote that I'm predicting that we're going to hear about some arguing among the athletes in
Hmm.
the athlete village, just because Mars is in Gemini and the just words. And then Gemini is familiar. And so it's just like those people that you've been training with all the time and you see all the time.
Mhm.
You're more likely to argue with those people over the next 6
Yeah,
weeks.
and close quarters, and
Yeah.
you bring in a guy home. I don't want to tell too much of my business, but your roommate doesn't want to, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a
Yes.
lot. It's a lot. Check this out. Happy birthday to a woman who is called America's grandmother. She turned 115 years old today.
I see my great grandma.
115.
The
That's
oldest.
America's great grandma.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and she turned 115, the oldest person living in the US. Her name is Miss Elizabeth Francis. She lives
Is
in
she black?
Houston. Yes.
Yes.
Lives in Houston with her family. Became the oldest living person in the US earlier this year,
Hmm.
following the death of the 116-year-old man, Edie, or woman Edie Secarelli of California. And according to LongeviQuest, the organization that monitors and tracks the oldest people in the world, she's the fourth oldest living person in the world. And she lives with her daughter and her granddaughter. Her granddaughter is 69.
Oh, wow.
And she
Wow.
said they're celebrating with a large floral covered sheet cake and vanilla cream, her favorite flavor, and that her grandma can have as many slices as she likes. Now, here's what I always found fascinating. They ask, how do you account for your long life
Right.
and things like that? And she said that her secret to living a long life is her faith in God and speaking her own mind.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, the
Don't
and
do that right now, y'all. Mars and Gemini, not right now.
so she is her faith in God, speaking her own mind and eating whatever she
She
wants. Or
won't.
I imagine she said whatever she damn well pleases. I'm just
Right. She said something like that.
yeah.
I
Uh,
think I'm gonna go ahead and call her an anomaly, y'all. We can't do that.
yeah. I
Okay.
know. I know we like to think that we could have a shot every day and we could live to
Yeah,
150.
no, that's not for us. That's for her.
No, no.
All
God,
right, Miss Elizabeth.
God bless you, Miss Elizabeth,
Yes.
and many, many more. Let's move to entertainment. The presumptive Democratic presidential candidate, we like to call her Vice President Kamala Harris, the coconut meme queen, is now a part of the TikTok kingdom. Her deputy campaign manager says she'll be able to directly engage with a key constituency, that's the young folks, in a way that's true and authentic to the platform and the audience. The Harris for President campaign launched a principal TikTok account for the vice president today under the handle at Kamala Harris. What else? This expands her digital footprint and builds upon the campaign's already active TikTok account at Kamala HQ. And that's Kamala, not Kamala, as it is
Like they didn't
mispronounced
know.
at every
Sorry.
time. Yeah, right.
See, that's one thing she can do. Correct him when he says your name
Oh,
wrong.
she can do that.
There you go.
She can do
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Do that because he's not gonna like it. He's not doing it anyways every single time. Too.
How would you like if somebody called you dumbass instead of Donald?
Okay. See, no, but I'm telling you, like, honestly, yes. Besides, that's annoying. Call people by the right name. They say that that's one of the first ways to make an enemy is to say their name wrong or forget their name. Yeah, people we're sensitive, but our favorite thing to hear is our name.
Very sensitive about our names.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. I just don't like.
I am. I will correct you.
I don't like the derivative. I don't like to be called Sib.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm gonna correct somebody.
Before we do the jewel, one more time, tell people how they can get in touch with you since you're all your
CosmicallyLit.com is my website. I'm Juanica Dunn on Facebook. You can follow me. There's not a lot of pictures. I don't have a lot of friends because I'm starting over. But Cosmically Lit, you can book a reading. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can get some courses, whatever. Reach out to me. Start studying this stuff for yourself. I'm not a fortune teller, you guys. I promise it's science. I know the science.
You know the science and you know it well.
We're
going to close out with the jewel. Respect social cues by paying attention to body language that indicates someone needs more personal space and adjust your actions accordingly. So they go like that.
Hey, back on up.
Yeah.
Back on up.
That's my new favorite thing is body analysis, body language analysis. So if they're closed off.
Are you studying that now?
I'm just on YouTube, not actually studying.
YouTube University, ain't nothing wrong with
it's
YouTube.
Fun. Keep me all right.
It does keep you up all night. You're right. Ladies, I've enjoyed this. It's great to see you all. And Miss Astrology, don't be a stranger, but I'm glad you're okay. And
I'm good. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll see you guys next month.
Absolutely.
Season, so we can prepare to adjust for the fall and see what else is coming up.
It's a date. All right, Miss Aprylete. It's so lovely to see you, Miss Aprylete, and you and your third personage. Take care, everybody. Be good to each other. Make it a great day. Aloha.